Welcome to AFL180, brought to you by Guru.com.au. We've witnessed another massive week in the AFL. The Lions, Blues and the Dockers all had important wins. Peptides are back in the spotlight and Johnson's managed to get himself rubbed out again. We're going to revisit our Round 8 finals predictions this week and see if anything has changed. I'm the betting guru, and joining me, I've got the usuals, Jono and Vava.
Howdy.
I like the word now called the usuals.
The usual suspects.
The usual suspects, exactly.
My non-special guests, how about that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start looking at last week's results. As I mentioned earlier, the Lions had a massive win.
Yeah, none of us tipped that one.
Oh, I hate to say it, but I would be tearing my hair out if I was a North supporter. That was shocking. They had injuries, but
They
were 5 goals up at 3 quarters.
The best one is Brad Scott coming out this week and saying, "I've never been, more satisfied with where we're at as a football club." Like, how can you be satisfied with that?
Yeah, they had a guy go down very early, so they were playing 3 men the whole time, and
that didn't stop them.
Guys were going down constantly.
They were still up.
They were always up against
just over 5 goals towards 3/4 time.
Yeah. Mind you, this is Brisbane, who didn't smash Geelong, but came back from a massive deficit
against Geelong,
and came back and beat Geelong. So they're psychologically prepared to win from anywhere, whereas North is psychologically prepared to lose from anywhere.
Well,
it was tailor-made. I could see it coming from a long way away.
I sent to the boys a 3/4 time ladder today, and if we stopped the game at 3/4 time, North would be 10-5, and what are they now?
Killing it.
7
6
8,
and 9.
6 and 9.
Cannot
So
make the finals.
just terrible. We'll talk about them in my great final score.
Carlton had an important win over St Kilda as well. It's not a huge opponent really these days, but it's a really important win. They had to win that.
Well, given St Kilda beat them earlier in the year, it's a very important win for Carlton's finals chances.
Yeah, which is amazing that they still have finals chances. But
and Collingwood rolls on.
Well, it's because that 8th spot is currently occupied by Port.
True.
And no one had them anywhere near the 8 at the start of the season. So
after their 2 massive wins, their run home is actually pretty good. We'll talk about that.
I thought the Collingwood Adelaide game was the match of the round. Adelaide really could have won if they had Dangerfield half fit in the second half. I think they really could have won. It was much closer than the final score.
Absolutely. And Melbourne had a massive game that week as well.
Did anybody listen to the radio coverage?
No.
Lowest inside 50 count ever by Melbourne.
That's
19. Right. The commentators were cheering. I was listening to Triple M, and the stats guy was cheering against them, getting the extra 2 inside 50s. They were cheering for inside 50s.
Oh, it's incredible.
It was incredible.
Given that, this is the first time for the whole year that they've kept the other team under 100 points.
Melbourne knows.
But in saying that, they had 10 scoring shots from 19 entries. That's not a bad conversion rate. That's an excellent conversion
I don't think Geelong was worried about it. They just left the one guy against 5 Demons players in their back half.
Turlich had his worst game for the season. He's the rebounder out of 50 that sets the whole thing up, and he hardly touched the ball all day.
And GWS had a massive, really disappointing. I think them. You look at.
I don't think they're even trying.
John,
you look at Gold
they're not
Coast,
trying to win.
But you look at Gold Coast at this time last year, and they were competitive in games. They'd won a couple.
They were 1-15 last year at the same time. They won an extra game. They're not trying to win. Have a look at
they look competitive. GWS.
True. Have a look at their ins and outs every week. Every week they rotate 8 guys. They don't want to win.
All right, so let's have a look at the results from the Benny Guru Top Punter competition. We're placing $10 on each game, and how is the ladder looking at the moment? Well, let's start with last round.
So last week's results, I got 6 right and had a total payout of $100.40. Vovo got 4 correct for a total payout of $76.80, and the Guru had a big week. He got 3 correct with a payout of $43.80.
Yeah. So in my defence, I was trying to catch up all in 1 week by putting out some crazy bets there.
You learned your lesson.
The thing is, I was so close. I had Gold Coast. I had Richmond halftime, Gold Coast full time, to emulate their last result, and it was so close. Well, Richmond only scored about 6 goals for the whole game, didn't they?
So did Gold Coast.
Yeah. They actually scored the same number of goals, didn't they?
Yeah, but Richmond had.
Oh, that's so tight. See, if I had won that one bet,
That
You're
would be
right
a
up
big
there.
difference.
Yeah, and I had a couple of other outside ones. Sydney winning by less than 40. That didn't
That
work
was a
out.
silly bet.
That
I
was
gotta
a
tell you.
stupid
That may
bet.
have been the
And Port to win as
stupidest bet
well.
of
That
the
didn't
year
work
so
out.
far.
So
Come
anyway,
on.
this week
You're
It's
back
gonna
on
be
track.
tight,
Well,
but-
you've got some catching up to do.
I'm going to catch up slowly.
Well, yeah, You've got a few $0.04 bets in you. I can feel
Yeah,
it. from
definitely.
you.
But
So
that leaves the totals
overall,
overall. So I'm now on $728.52, which puts me $8.52 in the black for the year.
Oh, you got a lot of
After betting on 72 games and putting $10 on there, I've now made a profit. The Guru's on $608.10, and Vova has made up some ground on the Guru. He's only $9 behind of $599.
I don't know, it looks like he's 100 behind. I'm 600 something, he's 500 something.
Clutching at straws, Guru.
Clutching
Clutching
at
at
straws.
straws.
Yeah,
That's true.
Alright, let's move on.
absolutely.
Alright, so this week's topic, we're going to have a look at our predictions from round 8 when we looked at the top 8 and who was going to finish in which position, and more importantly, have a look at how it looks now.
Well, to kick things off, let's just have a look at the current ladder and how it was back in round 8.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, round 8, Hawthorn, Geelong, Essendon, Sydney occupy the top 4 spots. And it's in exactly the same order now. Fremantle were 5th. The only thing that's changed is the order of the 6th, 7th and 8th. It was Port, Richmond, Collingwood back then. Now it's Richmond, Collingwood, Port. So it just goes to show that you need to start the season well, and if you do, you put yourself right in contention,
Yeah.
even at the late stages of the season.
Even if you have a dip mid-season, you can still pick it up.
you
and
can
get
still
there.
you can still find yourself in the 8.
Whereas if you're north and you've lost a couple of tight ones early,
Yeah,
Bit of trouble.
you're in a bit of trouble.
that's exactly right.
Well, I think it's fair to say I probably had the worst top 8 because I managed to leave Collingwood out, which was impressive. Although they're still only in 7th place with an easy run home. But
They are, but can't see them missing it.
yeah, can't see them missing. Agreed. Now you've both convinced me now. Although I think both of you got. Well, John, I had him 3rd or 4th. I think.
I had him 3rd.
Yeah.
They lost a couple that I thought they'd win, and because it is so tight up there, it's left them back in 7th. So.
Well, I think besides for the Collingwood, I had West Coast finishing 6th and North finishing 8th, and it doesn't look like either of those two are going to happen in a million years. So I think those were my two giants.
West Coast is an outside chance. They've got a couple of really hard games coming up that they if they can win those, they'll get there. So they're playing Collingwood in Melbourne in round 22. They're playing the Cats at home, and they're playing Essendon as well. So there's 3 tough games. I've got them down for a loss.
Yeah.
If they win a couple of them, they can get in easily.
Yeah.
It's still only 2 games difference between 12th and 8th, I think.
So who wants to read out their ladder as they see it now?
Okay, so I my top 8 last time I did have Collingwood 3rd, and Fremantle, Sydney, Essendon, West Coast, Richmond, with Geelong on top, Hawthorn 2nd. I've revised that a little bit. I've still got Geelong top. I can't see them losing a game for the rest of the year, and I think the Hawks will probably drop their last one to the Swans.
That's exactly what I have.
And so I've got them finishing 2nd. I got Freo 3rd, Sydney 4th,
John, you're matching my top 4. Go on.
and then Collingwood will sneak up to 5th.
So just if you leave it at top 4, so you're
Top
saying
4 for now?
You're
Yeah,
exactly the same.
Well, that was my original top 4: Geelong, Hawthorn, Freo, Sydney.
And now?
Same.
Same.
I'm leaving mine
The
same.
only difference, I've got Sydney and Fremantle tying points. I've got Sydney coming ahead in the percentage.
Yeah.
But, yeah, much
Yeah.
of muchness.
So yeah, then 5th to 8th, I've got Collingwood coming in 5th, Richmond 6th, Port 7th, and West Coast 8th.
Whoa!
So there's a team missing that's currently sitting 3rd on the ladder.
No way! Essendon.
I have a feeling that the
You
outcome
are
of
joking,
this, they will lose their points for the year,
That's interesting.
but they still won't finish bottom because even though they'll have no points, their percentage will be better than GWS. So they'll be 17th and not 18th.
That is brilliant. I didn't even think of that. Wonderfully done, Joe. Brilliantly done.
So you think they'll lose all their points? Is there no middle ground where they'll lose 2 games worth of points?
You can't. The AFL
I think
would
honestly
be a farce.
they need to take a few points off them, like -4 points, so they finish below GWS.
It would be a farce if a team that was
take points off their current points total. Yeah.
that's done what they've done. It would be a farce if they went on to play in a grand final or win a premiership.
Yeah.
The AFL would never live that down.
If they let them in the finals, then they have to let them keep going. So.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, we're going to have a wonderful podcast in a few weeks when Asada comes out with their findings. I cannot wait for that podcast. Either way, we get to slam either the AFL or Essendon. Non-stop.
I think next week we get a special guest, somebody that's devout Essendon supporter.
A defamation lawyer was on the radio talking about there's been that many different things written and said, and not everyone can be correct because there are so many different opinions that there's going to be so many defamation cases flying left, right, and centre after the results come out of this case.
The media has to be free to write something, otherwise it's going to be pretty boring.
But the media's there to report on the facts, not make up things like, Caroline Wilson seems to
I like Caroline Wilson. But anyway, moving on.
All right.
So, Michael, who have you got from 5th to 8th?
I don't know if we can predict the Asada investigation.
But we're doing our top 8.
If we leave it out, then I have Essendon 5th. Just narrowly missing out by the draw that Sydney and Fremantle had.
I had
on the top 4.
If Essendon don't lose their points, I've got them finishing 3rd.
Okay.
3rd?
Yeah.
Wow, okay, interesting.
Wow. How did you manage that?
Oh, we'll slide one down.
They have to win 5 of the last 4 games or something?
No. Oh, sorry, 4th. 4th.
Oh.
Not 4th.
Okay, getting there. So I've got Essendon, Collingwood, Richmond, and Port Adelaide with the last game, the last Friday night probably game of round 23, Port versus Carlton, potentially deciding the 8th place. Now that's going to be really
That probably won't be the Friday night game.
Yeah, I'm guessing not.
Well, they're talking about making it that Sydney Hawthorn game, but we'll see what happens.
Well, because the AFL once played at ANZ Stadium. There's a perfectly good Sydney cricket ground that they could play the game at, but ANZ's got rugby, so they're going to shaft the Hawks again, like they did in the preliminary final weekend last year.
All right. Quit your whinging. Good ladder. I've got.
Never seen so much whinging from a guy in first position on the ladder.
Exactly. And his team's doing well. We need more whinging from the Guru who supports Melbourne.
Joe, we haven't actually pointed out that the Dogs have jumped above the Saints on the ladder now.
Oh, they're a game clear. They're actually a good team. I think we need to talk a little bit about
St Kilda coming 17th.
It's possible.
You've got Melbourne finishing above St Kilda.
Yes.
Because they're going to win the next...
Because Melbourne's playing GWS again. They're also playing Gold Coast again, but I think Gold Coast will beat Melbourne. So, yeah.
Okay, well, a few things here. So I've got Essendon finishing 5th, Collingwood 6th, Port 7th, Carlton 8th.
Really? So you got Richmond.
I think Richmond might. Have you seen the run home?
Well, they're playing
run home.
They're playing Essendon, but they're playing the Giants as well. So
that's a guaranteed win, yeah.
Right? Then they're playing Carlton. Well,
tough game.
Let's start from the beginning.
So right now they've got Freo this week. I reckon Freo will get them.
Yep.
They've got then the following week they've got. If they got the following week,
Hawthorn.
Sydney at the SCG. Sydney will get them.
Yep. Then Hawthorn.
Then is it Hawthorn? Yeah. Then Hawthorn at the G.
I'll get them.
Then they got the Lions at the G.
Which they're going to win.
They should win that.
You didn't put them down for a loss.
They should, but Richmond has been known to drop those games in the past. Then they got Carlton at the G.
That's a tough game.
That's the game that decides it, I think.
That's a big game. Then they got GWS, and in the last round they're playing not St Kilda, Essendon. So,
tough run home. Anyway,
tough run.
So I see them missing out. And just on the side point, how good is the Western Bulldogs contested midfielders? Best group of clearance players in the league. They're unbelievable.
Why can't they win anything?
Because they haven't got any outside runners or key forwards.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. If they can get themselves a good key forward, they're actually a good team.
All right. Thanks for that. Let's we can have a look at that again come finals time and see.
So after round 23, we'll have a look at how we sit before the finals.
In terms of the top 4, there's probably only one team that could make it, depending on investigations. And in terms of the top 8, it's probably just Carlton or West Coast that we're still thinking may get in.
Look,
to be replaced by Richmond or
I
Port
I only see West Coast making it in if Essendon or Carlton making it in if Essendon get knocked out.
All right.
I'm determined to keep them every single week for the rest of the season. All right, let's move on to the tips.
Looking ahead next week, a few good games as well. Let's have a look at our tips. On Friday night at Etihad, we've got North Melbourne taking on Carlton.
I don't know what to do with this one, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of either team, but I gotta go. Murphy looks like he might be out this week, so
he's been named, but there's no guarantees he's going to play.
Give me another minute.
Mitch Robinson's been named as an emergency, so he could well come in for Murphy. Look, I've actually North are currently favourites, but the line's really low at -4.5. I'm going to take North of the line.
You've done that before. It worked for you, I think.
No, I've done it before, and they've let me down as well. So you just don't know which North the teams. If the North that turned up against Richmond, if they turn up tomorrow night,
no.
I've got North. I think they'll bounce back this week. I've got them just head to head.
Yeah, I'm going North head to head as well. I really feel bad about it as well.
Hawthorn are taking on the Western Bulldogs. That could be a rout, but hopefully those midfielders will kick in.
I don't like this. I don't like the line on this at all. I think they've got a plus. I'm going Bulldogs plus 59.5. There's no incentive for Hawthorn to smash them.
No, the incentive is to try and get out injury free.
Correct. I think it's a stupid line, and the Bulldogs are competitive. I'm going Bulldogs plus 59.5.
I'm going the other way. After what the Hawks did to Port last week, I mean, Port have beaten Sydney at home. They've been really competitive at home this year, and Hawthorn came and beat them by 7-8 goals. I just think Hawthorn are a good side, and the 63.5 line is.
I completely agree with you. That's why I'm going Hawks head to head.
You're taking it.
$1.05.
I'd love $1.05.
You would have last week.
It's $1.01.
Yes. I think I can get $1.02. Anyway, next game could also be another thrashing. GWS at home to Essendon.
Wasn't a fan of the line here. Plus, they're resting
at some
a few
point,
players. Essendon.
You'd think Essendon's off-field drama would take its toll, but they've had such a good season.
But they're now They're resting guys again. This could be Gold Coast, GWS all over again when they were played in Melbourne.
Yeah.
They're resting.
Why do you think they're resting
they took
guys?
out Pears. They
Melksham's
took
out.
Winderlick, Pears,
No, it's
Howlett.
It was Winderlick, not Melksham. Sorry.
Winderlick, but they took out Howlett. They're resting guys again. I'm going.
The answer's Zacharakis, who has an injury.
Yeah.
Tate Pears is the only one that's listed as actually rested.
Yeah, but
then Ben Howlett's omitted and Jason Winderlick.
I don't think Ben Howlett was really omitted. But anyway, I think they're resting. I'm going to go Essendon 40 plus.
Ditto. Same. After what happened in Melbourne earlier in the year. But
I've got the same bet as well. So is that the first time ever that we've all picked exactly the same
possibly,
thing?
yeah.
I think it might be.
So we're all guaranteed to be wrong. I love it already.
I can't remember that. So yeah, nothing to barrack for.
So we can all barrack for GWS because it doesn't affect us either way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love them to win.
All right, next game, Gold Coast at home to Collingwood.
Second game I hate this game.
Yeah.
Collingwood 1-39 with no conviction.
Taking Collingwood at the line of minus 28.5.
And I'm taking Collingwood head to head.
So do we have a reason for these? We've got to give the listeners something to go by.
I've got nothing. I cannot tell you a single reason why I think.
I'm the same. It's just Collingwood should win, and 5 goals seems like a good margin.
Exactly.
So
The next one might be tight. St Kilda at home to Port. Port really needs to win, obviously. If they drop it, their finals chances.
All the money's been for Port, and Port go in favourites.
They should go in favourites. But I don't think their line's enough. They've only got Port at minus 9.5. I'm taking Port minus 9.5. They're a better team. I thought the Saints did okay last week against Carlton, but Carlton just are a better team, and Port's a better team than Carlton in my opinion this year. So I'm going Port minus 9.5.
Jono?
I'm taking the Saints head to head.
This is the first time you've gone Saints and I haven't.
Well.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
Was it last week or the week before I went Saints head to head? And it was close. They put up a good fight, but no cigar. So I've got Port head to head. I think Port is definitely the stronger team.
Yeah, for sure.
And even if it's in Melbourne, they've got all the motivation to go hard.
That's the other thing. They're actually they've got something to play for.
The next game, Melbourne at home to Brisbane Lions. Now when I say at home, it's at TIO.
So I actually think Melbourne's been looking decent. Even last week, if just Geelong's the gun team, but I'm going Brisbane 40 plus. It's just going to be hot as all hell up there, and Brisbane are used to the heat, and they're a better team.
Jono? Last minute changes? What do you do?
well, I did have Brisbane 1-39 because I didn't realise that it was at TIO. So,
Well prepared podcast this week.
I've prepared really well. You sometimes wonder how I managed to get so far in the lead, but
Smooth.
Just drops that one in there.
Smooth.
but no, look, I'm going to stick with that. You know, Melbourne have been somewhat competitive since Neil Craig took over, so I'll take Brisbane 1-39.
You mean with the 15 inside 50s or whatever it was that they got last week?
They tried hard.
They still only lost by 10 goals in the end.
And I have to say,
because it was a wet day and Geelong kicked a hell of a lot of behinds.
I think Steve Johnson had more contested possessions than the whole of the Melbourne team, which is impressive.
Geelong are an awesome farm, though.
I've got the Lions head to head, keeping it simple. I'm not sure how much they're going to win by, but I'm pretty sure they're going to win. Has anyone got the Lions with a chance to make the 8? No. If they win every single game for the rest of the season, mathematically they could do
I've
it.
actually got them finishing, well, in my ladder with Essendon finishing second bottom. I've got the Lions finishing 9th.
Okay.
I've
Ahead
got
of
the Lions
North and
finishing
Carlton.
11th, but only 2 games outside the 8th. So if they win an extra 2, they can do it. Next game.
Freo Richmond.
Thank you. Just very professional over here.
I don't even, this is going to be a great game. And I'd be so disappointed that Pavlich is out for you. Because this is the final piece.
But they've learned to play without.
Yeah, I'm still going Freo head to head. They just Ross Lyon. It's just Ross Lyon. That's all I would say.
Yeah, I'm taking Freo 1-39.
Should we just rename them Ross Lyon?
Yeah, exactly. But Freo, they generally don't blow teams away. I can't see them blowing Richmond away in Melbourne, but they should get the win.
Did you go Freo 1-39?
1-39.
I've got the same thing.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think they'll smash them. I think it's actually a close game on paper. And yeah, Pavlich is out, but they've played without him all season. I don't think it's going to be a huge issue.
Well, if they win this week, then I'm straight away wrong on the Richmond missing the 8th piece, which would be very disappointing.
Next game is Adelaide at home to Geelong without Dangerfield, and Geelong has a couple of again the outs and the ins. Are pretty
Oh my God,
for
that's
them.
unbelievable. Steve Johnson goes out, Joel Corey Enright, Nathan Vardy, and Matthew Stokes come in. Like, seriously.
Unbelievable.
And I'm really regretting my bet, but I went Adelaide plus 29.5 for no reason other than the fact.
Dangerfield.
Yeah, I agree, but no reason other than the fact that I don't think Geelong's got an incentive to go too hard.
No Dangerfield, and Adelaide are in a position where Richard Tambling has been named as an in.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's not going to say, but I agree. But the thing is, when I use logic, I typically get it wrong, Jono. So I think I'm very confident about Adelaide plus 29.5 because I don't believe in it.
Taking Geelong at the line of minus 30.5. I think they'll win by well.
Oh, if they win by 34, it'll be very disappointing.
We'll both miss out.
Well, we'll double check those odds and lines, but I've got Cats head to head, nice and simple.
He's really guaranteeing himself the results this week.
He really wants to.
I'm going back to basics.
Catch up very slowly.
The thing is, I was leading early. It was all way too easy. You know, I just expected
It's been in about the
to
space
win,
of
and I've
6
got
weeks.
smashed in the last 3 weeks when I haven't been taking it
In the
seriously.
space of about 6 weeks, has been a $200 turnaround.
Oh, that doesn't sound like that much. But
He's been smashed.
maybe we should make it 1 million per game.
Let's not.
Okay. Last game of the round. Swans.
And West Coast.
Who have you got? West Coast at home.
I have to stick with them now. West Coast head to head. At some point, they're going to win one.
You are constantly picking West Coast.
Yes, I don't know why, but at some point, I think they're going to win one. And they got some good ins this week.
They do.
Kerr,
Shuey's back in.
and somebody else is in. I can't remember.
Kerr's not been named.
I thought Kerr was
Wellingham is coming
Wellingham.
in. Adam Selwood and Blaine Wilson. Embley's out
Yeah.
for another stupid.
Yeah. I'm taking West Coast head to head. It's decent odds. I think they're playing at 280 or something. So I'm taking West Coast.
I'm going the other way. I'm going Sydney 1-39. I think West Coast. Yeah, I think Freo got away from West Coast at the end of the day last week, and I think Sydney play a similar sort of lockdown, contested style game, and I think they'll get over the line. But
They went in way too tall against Freo. Way too tall. They played like 8 tall guys. They had no run.
They haven't dropped anybody. They've dropped Andrew Embley's the only out.
Yeah, a few guys will make their way. Anyway.
I have Swans head to head. I think they're a powerful team this year. I think they're, in some ways, they're better than their premiership year.
So
Just so strong.
we've done our ladder predictions earlier. Can anybody see anyone other than Hawthorn, Geelong, or Sydney winning the premiership?
Ross could win.
No,
Ross Lyon
I
could
don't
win.
think so. I think it's one of those three. They're more powerful. I think
If there's
Freo will make inroads.
if there's a preliminary final at the MCG and it's Geelong versus Fremantle and Freo can bring what they did,
Mate, Geelong will
first
score 3 points that match. Freo will score 4
Freo will
points,
score 2.
and they will win. I have got zero doubt. Now, what they'll do in the grand final is a different story, but I tell you what, you would not want to tip against them. Ross Lyon's going to win the flag.
I don't think so.
Oh, he's not going to win the flag, but I've got a chance. That's what I'm saying.
So one prediction: Hawthorn, Collingwood. Well, I'm not sure about Collingwood, but they could.
No, they can't win.
Who's the premiership winner this year? Okay, that might be a topic for a different podcast.
Yeah.
the heart says the Hawks, but Geelong are just awesome at the moment. I can't find
Geelong.
it hard to pick anyone.
Hard to go against Geelong.
But the Hawks seem to beat Geelong in the important games.
Let's leave this for round 22 when we
Yeah,
know
I
what
think
the
that's a
injuries look
different
like.
podcast. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.